This is so hype. I will enjoy next month. I'm gonna enjoy next month. I'm gonna.
Like, do I look stupid to you? After everything I just saw happen, there's no way in hell that I am downloading this thing. So, I politely declined, to which he said, quote, I mean, you already use a VPN. It should be pretty safe. I never told this guy that I use a VPN. I mean, of course, if I'm, for example, logging into a random person's Google account, I'm going to make sure that they can't track my logon location or get any personal info. But the fact that he knew this, and he tried to find my location when I logged on to this account. When I look back at all those conversations, he had brought up Liam's dad dying to me before Liam ever actually revealed it in the videos. Obviously, Liam didn't catch this, but this user right here is clearly using the allure of this world to get access to people's stuff. But my thing is, clearly this guy isn't just trying to get like pure information from people. Why would you go through all the work and process of making a creepy Minecraft world for someone to play on? No, I think this guy finds some messed up enjoyment out of creeping on and scaring the crap out of people like Liam. So, I decided to play along. I told Stevie that I would download the world until I figured out what happened to Liam in the last phenomenon. Because I knew that if this guy probably had access to Liam's computer, he could probably get the footage that Liam had been recording. But maybe something in there would be able to help me figure out what happened to Liam. And a little bit later, Steve said that he has magically found his way to Liam's Google account because he knew his Gmail. He said he could share with me the final video, which just so happened to be uploaded 30 minutes before he sent it. Does this guy think I'm an idiot? Anyway, here is the video.
Hey, Liam, it's Dad. Just wondering when you're getting out of practice today. Got the car all packed up, ready to go, so I'll be ready for whatever you need to get home. But, tell Chris I say hi, and, yeah.
At this point, I know that smart. If you saw this playlist, what would you think of it? Maybe just an unsuccessful attempt at a survival multiplayer server? Well, the story told by this YouTube playlist is one of a server that was attacked by an unknown person or entity that caused the disappearance of every single member. We'll start at the beginning. We see one member named Copper X Mason, who appears to be the owner of the SMP, introducing the server while waiting for other people to join.
Hello, the start of the actual SMP. Yes, I used to voice change your parents worried about the internet. I've always wanted to start a server with somebody, and he had the idea to make this one more interesting. So I invited a bunch of people off Discord to help be a part of it.
This is the Astral SMP. So the feature Mason is talking about is the fact that players play in the same world but can't actually see each other, only the changes that each of them make to the world, which unfortunately made the server and the members incredibly vulnerable as to what was to come. Anyway, he goes to the table to join, and then he's suddenly jump scared when the blocks around him start to break, putting him in a hole. But this is just revealed to be another member of the server going by the name of Barry. Barry seems to be good friends with Mason. They talk back and forth for a while, and then Barry says, "Did you end up letting that one guy on?"
Oh, yeah, he's kind of a he's a guy I don't really know him that well, but I saw it. Yeah, he's like a visual
Winter is a huge red flag in my book. I mean, literally, he's a person you don't know well.
Welcome back, my friends.
You cannot see caps on anyone. And I was sort of right, because you'll see later in this episode, Winter is a part of some weird stuff that goes down. But let's get some context first. Winter eventually hops on, and after one awkward conversation later, the server starts. Mason immediately goes with the name, because he says he's trying to be the first to defeat the Ender Dragon. After a shoddy attempt at a speedrun, he gets together and gets back, and takes a pause to introduce us to an important mechanic of this server. This aspect of the server is very important, because otherwise there is no concrete way to know if anyone you're talking to is actually who they say they're talking to. Eventually, Mason makes it to the End Fortress and comes to find out that the portal has already been lit. He enters the portal and sees that someone is still fighting the dragon. He runs over to them, asks who it is, and come to find out that it is Winter. The rest of the fight is normal. However, I want you to watch this clip very, very closely.
I am Kira.
Did you see it? it said Winter left the game, and then the arrow was shot, and you can even see the bow disappear. Winter had left the game. There's no way that this could have been Winter, and whoever it is lied to Mason about their identity. And that certainly wouldn't be the first time that this happened on this server. The next video on the playlist takes us over to Barry's channel for a video titled Building My Base. Barry doesn't use or own a microphone in his video, so he talks to the viewer through the chat, and he explains that he wants to build a big tower-like base near spawn so that he can see all the other bases and also tower over them. Perhaps overcompensating, but nonetheless, he goes out to gather resources for his base and runs into a new player known as Leah, who is seemingly just starting out in the world and is cutting down some trees. Barry cuts down a bunch of trees and gets to constructing his base, and I gotta say, this guy has quite the knack for building because that tower turned out great.
Nice.
There was a moment, however, that stuck out to me in the process of this video. As he's building a part of the house, we can see the house catch on fire, seemingly out of nowhere. Now, to be fair, it was thunderstorming at the time, and he puts out the fire, and then it strikes again, and then finally nothing. Barry tells us in chat that that shouldn't have happened because apparently he has some plugin or something that specifically makes it so lightning cannot start fire. However, what really gets me about this moment is if you slow it down, we can see the lightning is quickly striking because it's bright while the fire is in the rain. And there doesn't seem to be any lightning anywhere here. However, it's really hard to tell, so at the very least, this just piqued my curiosity as for what these other videos have to offer. This video opens with Mason talking about some weird stuff that had happened on the server in between episodes. Members had been noticing griefing happening to their bases, so Mason decides to build a trap that will go off if anyone enters his base, and he can hop in a bed and see who it is. Mason goes out to get materials to set up these traps and runs into M and J, which is a brother-sister that are also part of this server. I bring the people out because it's going to become very important to pay attention to who is online at any given moment going forward. Mason asks if they had seen anybody else online as of late, and they do mention that they ran into Leah, but other than that, they're not sure who else has been online. Mason takes note of Barry's new tower in the world, checks it out briefly, and then starts to work on the trap. It's a very simple design, but seems to do the trick. So Mason goes AFK and waits. The first doorbell ring happens when Barry comes to visit, which was apparently a pre-planned visit, so nothing surprising there. Second is a chicken that's
Wanna know something, Mum? Pardon? Wanna know something? What? I'm quite annoyed. I'm quite annoyed. Why? Do you wanna know why? Because to be a god, you have to pay 325 million. And guess what, Mum? And guess what? It's not an 100% chance.
Which is certainly the video ends with Mason explaining to the lady of the whitelist having just that it was a player. Yes.
It's not a 100% chance.
This video is
I just waited to 325 million. Wait, I just got into a new game. I'm the god. Let's go, I just got into a new game.
This video is the first of many that we will see an unknown POV person.
Dog, what is this? I'm having a shower. Yeah, showers. Yo.
Why would a player need to drink a potion of invisibility on a server where they're invisible? Well,
What a dog.
it's that potions of invisibility also make the player hand disappear while in first person, so they're not drinking the potion right out of the game. It's for essence of course, so you can see their potentially distinctive skin and no resemblance. This player is finally approaching the cherry house, which upon looking inside, you can see that this is actually Leah's house. So hold on. How can you see Leah's skin? This player is not in the bed, not inspected. So somehow the player has managed to disable the invisibility button. But anyway, the player opens the door and then tucks themselves behind. We can hear Leah get out of the chest player stands there and watches for just a moment until this happens.
Let's go, Bo.
The player looks directly. Leah seems to look directly at them. And Leah blinks, and all of a sudden, boom, dead. Because if you know anything about dying in Minecraft, it typically shows a red just this puff of smoke. I have so many questions. Number one, most of this, but anyway, next new channel, which is YouTube channel. Their first and only video, we can see them inside of check out my means. Walk in and see it. Go to put something in the chest. Something interesting is back. She says that she just James said yes, which is fine, but James the next video is what finally gives us some the outside. Mason starts off making it very clear that Leah has completely disappeared. However, Mason seems mostly excited about this little mystery on his hands and decides to do a world tour with the subworld in a base levels that exactly match subworld supposedly. Mason is upon getting there, he goes out the other side. The original stronghold that started in season 1. He follows the in this case our torches back to a house that is there not for you. And upon going inside, you feel that it's very empty, almost as if it was staged. Mason actually almost leaves before realizing that the house is substantially longer than it is deep. It is indeed a secret. Mason immediately starts trying to look for a key, right? This is my group. Let's be real. He uncovers that and goes down for a very long time, and suddenly encounters this. Now, Mason initially points this base at Winter because Winter's base is the only one reincarnation of techno. But unfortunately, the one that made me most is what Mason says right here. Mason is absolutely right. So whether or not this left more questions, hit him. Next video will show us. Once again, it's very difficult to see the behavior once again from the description. Yes, there and amazing. We actually see what decided to take off, which is interesting because they go inside and start talking to Jay. It's not back and forth for a while. thing, right? Mr. Person obviously says something that Jay says, okay, well, what's my opponent? Everybody knows Jay. You assume this is information very close. So when the street player goes to respond, they take a beat, and then they write a trick question. It is just Jay. And the weird thing is, they end up being right. This is extremely scary because that means this mystery person knows a lot about these games. Except for the fact that Jay's kind of independent, so this actually isn't. But it's just going to rock stuff out. They take Jay from me, and at the end of it,
I am Kira.
Very immediately. But the video doesn't end this time. This time we keep watching, and all of a sudden realize that M is now standing there. Presumably haven't seen what just happened, and M turns to run, and we chase M all the way until they get to the portal, which this brings this lava thing. This was not only the abduction of Jay, but also M. M had seen the identity of the player, but couldn't quite get away in time. And just like that, this server's player count has been muted. So whoever is messing with this player is so he asked Winter for the court, gave them, basically running to has a chance to get on or hide anything that he doesn't found, which, to be honest, wasn't so until things started to happen. To get to that house, he makes a switch in the basement where he sees a weird place to frame and it's good. Oh, just that has this. Keeping up the shears are weird because they are the people that you need to try and pump it into a car. But Mason is quite apprehensive about this because why on earth would you put just shears and be able to pump it? If someone commented down high this item, they can just put it in the ender chest and no one can have access. With this in mind, Mason wants to go back down to see if he can break the shears because that is a bit more incriminating than just how they can pump it. So he makes his way back down, very careful. Chest gets to the end. This video starts with this person thinks they're good for kids, and they figure it out. is interrupted, however, by a chest noise, which scares him enough to break the painting and walk out the door. This was also a big misunderstanding between Mason and the Winter Kid. See that they don't see what's happening. Of course, again, not knowing what the hell this tunnel there or why. I feel like I have so much evidence, but no idea what to do with it. So, and of course, you see the players there in Winter's building. The player decides to enter across the gap and then slowly makes their way up to the roof. Now, this time the player wastes no time in just hitting Winter over and over until he is thrown off the roof. Winter was now basically alone. God was only remnants of those who were terrified. And if I were in his shoes, I'd be dropped dead terrified to even be walking into the server. But oh, if all of this is going down, Mason is just AFK. So now we can finally resume Mason's episode and see this.
Drop it. Jack, okay. Get in.
And that's the end of the playlist. Which, I don't know about you guys, but it's not satisfactory to me at all. Like, the server he owned is just gone. Like, that's not good for me. So, I did the one thing that I could. That's right, the PI. The PI was basically just, he explained that it's a check yes. Online with a sketchy website and somehow gave people access to the server. But he also said that all of his internet friends' Discords got deactivated, and he said that he actually doesn't know why that part happened. The only one out of all of the people on the server that actually made a new account and reached out to Mason again was actually Barry. I asked him if he had any more footage or anything I could look at, even though he doesn't have access to his world anymore. He said he didn't have footage. He still have access to the Discord server. So, I got the invite. Here's the rundown. All of the accounts have since been deactivated besides Mason's, which makes this a lot harder to understand the discussions that are happening and who is partaking in them. But there's a conversation that goes like this.
Yo, who's online RN? I am. I'm in class RN, LOL. Where you at right now, Winter? I was on like an hour ago. At my base, why?
From this moment on, we can assume that this user is Winter.
Have you been there the whole time? Wait, you were? I didn't see you get off. Yeah, I've been reorganizing my chests. How weird. Okay.
I learned two things from this. One was obviously figuring out which account was Winter's, but also that something weird happened on the server, and this user claimed to have gotten offline, but Winter didn't see it, so either Winter missed it in the chat or something else was going on. Next, I found this conversation.
Is someone in my base right now? No. I'm not even on. LMAO. I swear I heard someone open a chest or something. I'm literally at a friend's house. I can confirm she's not home.
That interaction for me confirms that this is M and J, respectively, because they're the only ones that know where each other are in real life because they're siblings.
You guys, I'm actually scared someone is breaking blocks. I'm gonna log on. I want to see this. I'll record it too. I'm not home, so it isn't me. Wait, it stopped for a second. Eve also been having weird stuff like that happening. Wait, what's happening? It went away.
This conversation is particularly confusing because it depicts an event that we didn't get to see happen. And that's most likely because it appears to have stopped just before Winter went to record it. Which does interest me because it almost seems like whoever's messing with Winter got the heads up and was able to immediately stop. But either way, there's two more people that I have to... Hello? Hello? Listen. Listen, kids, if I've learned one thing from the Scream films, just always hang up the damn phone. Anyway, we'll come back to that, but here's the final conversation.
Does anyone have extra iron I could use? I keep running out. Yeah, I have some you can have. Cheesecake, mind some yourself. Reed, are you online, RN? Shut up, Jay. I'll get on right now to give it to you. By the way, Lee, I left you some diamonds too there in the chest.
This was the exact moment I needed. This other user is Leah, meaning this one is Barry. And even besides that, this conversation was the final piece of information that I needed to figure out what exactly went down on this server. And you guys are not going to think that. What we knew was that an unknown player had logged onto this SMP and was slowly taking off members one by one. However, I always assumed that this was some random player, but it wasn't. It was one of the members, and I didn't know which one it was until this Discord server came into the picture. But there's one big issue here, the abductions. We saw every single player get abducted, and there's no way to move two Minecraft characters simultaneously, but one of those abductions didn't have two characters moving simultaneously. As a matter of fact, when you look back at it, you can see it's almost like someone is switching back and forth to control both characters. The same person who knew fire spread was off. The person whose base was specifically made to be a watchtower over the rest of the server. And most importantly, the person who consistently uses the wrong form of there whenever we see them type a message. It was no mistake that Barry was the only one to reach back out to Mason after his account got forcibly deactivated, and I believe that from the get-go, Barry never liked the idea of this facility. It took away one-on-one time that he would typically get with Mason playing things like Bed Wars. So, Barry offered an idea to make the server more interesting. Barry volunteered to code the mod for Mason, specifically adding a feature where if you put on a carved pumpkin, you wouldn't be entirely visible even if someone was looking at you in a bed, which made it easy for Barry to go one by one, banning members and mass reporting their Discord accounts in just an inconspicuous enough way that made it seem like they all decided to ghost everyone. But his mistake was forgetting that he needed to get rid of Jay and M at the same time, considering that they were living in the same house. And when he did, it immediately raised red flags. So Barry knew he needed a cover. So he decided to frame Winter, hoping that Mason would see it and end up asking to ban Winter all by himself. And then it would just be the two of them again. However, it didn't quite convince Mason.
There's no reason to hide here at the end of a tunnel like that. Like, that's so on the nose.
So he took his recordings of the first 3 abductions, along with a framed recording of himself getting abducted, and posted them all to YouTube. Now, this of course required him to deactivate his own Discord account, just to clear himself of any wrongdoing. And lastly, he took care of Winter and ended the SMP once and for all. All he had to do was reach out to Mason from a new Discord account, and he got to be the one nice friend who didn't actually decide to ghost Mason. This was truly, really well done. And his only mistake was leaving up a YouTube playlist that compiled the bizarre events in just a way that piqued the curiosity of a bored YouTuber in need of content.
Hey guys, I don't want it turns out it wasn't my friend very turns out friend there's social stuff going on. I'm a lot of things. Very having what he thought but if you put on a mask, change who you are for someone, you slowly become almost like blind to what it is. The whole time, I would have sworn that there was 7-player somehow logged on the server, kept going, and to be honest, I think I ended up kind of being right. Because that mystery guy, that wasn't it. I might as well have gone missing along with the rest of us.
Do you see this player? I mean, they should have known that there was something wrong with this Minecraft world if this is what it looks like when you first spawn in. There's an infinite number of normal-looking spawn points for a normal single-player world, and this is not one of them. But to really analyze this, the fog implies that the player is potentially on a much higher level than the player could ever typically spawn. But the player decides to relog, and all of a sudden, everything goes back to what you would expect from the player starting on the world. 9 videos were sent to me by this random Discord user, but as an ARG YouTuber, this is far from out of the ordinary, and I always run these links through a virus. Checker, just to make sure that no one's trying to play some hacker simulator on my computer. And for the first time ever, the link came back as malicious. So how did I end up with these videos? Well, I did some research into anywhere else this virus has been online, and I discovered a Minecraft forum, which led me down a rabbit hole into finding one of the oldest and most unknown mysteries of the game. The player starts to build a small dirt house before logging off inside the house. I make note of this because in the very next log, when they log on again, we can see that they are no longer in that location. The world is broken in some places, and if you're wearing headphones, you're actually probably noticing that there's this monotonous noise in the background that's hard to understand but is going back and forth from the left to right ear. They instead log out, presumably thinking they went on the wrong world, and log back in exactly where they should have been. I guess a win is a win, and they end up just playing as normal for a bit, but things quickly get unnormal when we hear followed by but they don't see anything in the direction of the noise, so they decide to take a step back, look at their lovely house that they finished, and log off. Now, going back to that speaking before, it's nearly impossible to make out what these voices are saying with zero reference, but what intrigues me is how it shifts from the left to right ear. It appears to be almost a sort of conversation, and when I map it out, we can see the left and right side go up and down, almost like waves flowing back and forth. And I analyzed these patterns for meaning, but I couldn't find much. We log on to see that the world has changed, and there is now cobblestone in every direction. The player punches the wall, but it appears to be very, very thick. So they make their way down and discover more of the maze. They continue wandering, with their only point of reference being the stars above them, actually more so the lack thereof. But they make note of some shadows on the ground, as well as some of the shapes of the room being weird. But I want you guys to try to get into the puzzle, because this is one of the best puzzles I've seen. Everybody basically they go through this and start to see the maze again. virtual circuit. That's which this this is certainly you.
No one wants to play ping pong with me. I'm a god, and no one wants to play ping pong. Ping pong, come on. What? I said in-game.
Besides this message being one step away from
Ha! Someone joined and I won.
and in the meantime, we just have this player who's also focused on escaping. They continue to game. Doesn't seem like the world is taking very kindly to this cheat. So later tries to make stepping out of this religion and doesn't see it. It's that way. Right now, it's like I see a lot of glitch, but this guy is on. Here's the thing, I liked the plan. I thought they were playing pretty logically and definitely trying to gather as much information as possible. This time they log on and randomly have a torch on the ground. That's interesting, but they continue to look. It seems to be that same forest. see that the player on the forum ended up doing some research to try this last blog being posted. They ended up linking some articles that correlate bedrock structure to be similar to the code. Well, they don't research that. I was researching these sounds. They sound vaguely reminiscent of cables that are in the game. They're not quite. And that's what I found. They also Now, this could be fully a situation where I've convinced myself it's saying something that it's not, but once I heard this, I feel like I couldn't unhear it. And now the world has communicated with us in two separate ways, but the issue is the player has discovered neither of them. So now I'm sort of like, is the world trying to talk to the player, or is it trying to talk to us as the viewer? Well, I decided to take a healthy dose of your Sky Pal and this next vlog is a complete outlier from any of the other videos that we've seen thus far, so I'm going to treat it as such. We're finally back at the player's house, although this time it looks just a bit different. This is partially because of the 3D anaglyph setting that is now turned on. If you don't know what that is, essentially in the older versions of Minecraft, they offered a feature where if you had those cliche 3D type glasses, you could wear them and have a 3D Minecraft experience. Well, in this case, it sort of results in this weird sort of glitchy color visuals, and the player says, I can see what the player means. If we turn up the visibility even more, we can see that their house seems to be somewhat stretched, and then there's even a tree from that tall forest that was never there prior. So the player leaves the game. They immediately log on again, and this time the world seems to have trapped them in this sort of bedrock box with layers and layers of glass. The player seems to not want to leave the game and potentially never see this place again, so they start to break through and maybe try to find a means to escape. They break to the next level, but don't see much there, so they continue dropping until they reach the bottom. Well, actually almost the bottom, because there's a single piece of glass with water beneath it. They go into that, they try to swim around and find any interest or escape there. They find nothing. They go back up for air and they realize that there's no actual way to get back out of here. They are forced to leave the game. We log on again, where this tube of bedrock has gotten no less colder than the last time we saw it. The player actually refers to us and says, you know, something gave it away. I don't know if it was getting perma-trapped in bedrock or calling the place purgatory, but we continue on and we end up discovering that at the end of this, we can see a dense forest where the player decides to write, purgatory connected to the forest. We finally have some sort of connection here between two of these places, but as the player gets closer to the inside of this forest, the frame rate seems to dramatically drop. So we can briefly open up to 3, and see that something lagged the computer, until all of a sudden, the game crashes. The player boots up the game immediately again, and is clearly unhappy. They spawn in the maze this time, aren't happy with that position, and have to A a few times just to force them back to bedrock craft, which also isn't their liking, so they leave the game, usually just spawn force again. This time they find a lava pool and just start chucking all of their edits inside. They end up typing in chat, and the world. It is at this point that we must turn back to the forum for a couple of answers. A reply was made by a user that said, quote, this feels related to QF1. Now, fun fact about me, I hate it when people say things like they're common knowledge and it could be further from the truth. QF1 didn't give me a lot to research. There's a chance that they were making a rather distasteful joke about a plane crash that happened in 1999 called Qantas Flight 1. But I gave them the benefit of the doubt that that was unrelated, so I dug a little deeper into Minecraft history and I found a very niche mystery that was going on around the time back in the day regarding a series of images that were posted anonymously. The name QF1 related to the start of a link URL that led to this image. And when this image was released, it was heavily implied that there was more to discover and dive into here. People initially looked for certain things that were out of place, like this shadow or black box covering part of this tree. However, it was quickly made apparent that the thing to find here was this tiny bit of text in the bottom of the image. Upon rewriting the set URL with a set of characters, you would get a new image. Bit by bit, people were discovering image after image until they suddenly hit a wall. This image right here did not seem to have any text that would lead to another image. And you may have noticed already that these images actually make up a bigger image. And upon arranging them properly, you can see this very tall tree that looks comparable to what the player has been seeing in their world. However, no one knew what to do here, or if there was even any more to be found. Spoiler alert, there is. And after messing with hues and filters for long enough, I was actually able to find another code in this image, which got me one last image, but dear God, was it a letdown. This offers exactly 0 new information and doesn't even have another code inside of it for me to use. At least I thought that before literally zooming out and seeing the bigger picture. The assembled image prior had formed a sort of upside down T shape, but that very quickly changed when this image was put into its correct place. It now clearly depicted a number 1. But what could that mean? I mean, a single number could be related to absolutely millions of things. But you know what else has millions of things? Minecraft worlds. Okay, wait, that made it sound like I thought of this immediately. I tried so much other stuff and researched the whole internet before I even thought of this. But the issue here was I had to pick the right version of Minecraft, because one Minecraft seed of one version is going to be completely different because of the different updates that happen. But after a couple tries, I ended up finding it, and it is the exact same world that we see the player playing. So not only was I right about this, but also that random person was actually right about these two worlds being connected. But here's the part that makes 0 sense. The correct version wasn't the version that we see the player playing. They were in 1.4.2, but that version gives me a completely different world than the one that I found it on, which is 1.12. 1.12 wouldn't come out for another 5 years from when these videos were posted. And before you ask, no, this world did not have all those weird structures. However, it did have a forest nearby that actually looked comparable to what I see in this image, and I tried to look for any signifying features in the image that would help me sort of track it down. And that's when I saw this. It's a lava pool, which means the person was standing probably close by to a lava pool. But I couldn't actually find any lava pools in this world. I did find a small pool of water, and after removing this one tree, I found this location that actually seemed semi-close to what we see in the image, but obviously missing the very clear tree in the center of it. I seem to be just missing something else here, so I'll open this part up to you guys in the comments, but it's time we return back to